Welcome to Get Your Pulls, number 115. Three-man crew. It's Muji.
It's Dan.
It's Jay. Mouthful of Kit Kats. Sorry.
Yes. It's okay.
We are Toddless Heathens once again as Todd is at the beach with his family enjoying a nice vacation. I will also be going to sunny Florida here in a couple of months myself, and I can't wait. So I'm a little envious, especially as it's fucking pouring down rain here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But hey, we're here and we're getting our pulls.
Yeah. It might be raining in Florida. I hope it's not, but it might be.
Well, the great thing about Florida, which is why ultimately one day I'll live there, despite it being probably the highest per capita in psychopaths in the world, is that when it does rain, it rains for like 20 minutes and it's gone. So it's like, hey.
It just does it every day.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You get like 90% of a sunshine day and then it rains for 20 minutes and it cools shit off. It's like, oh, it's not even a burden.
Yeah, it rains here and it feels like you're in a fucking sauna.
I know.
Unless you get a sweet hurricane. Yeah, Florida is. It's like, it's all of life. It's fucking all you have to pay for anything good that you ever get. It's like, I get to live on the beach, and the craziest murder in the world happened next door. Anytime there's a crazy crime happen, you immediately think, I bet it happened in Florida, and it almost always is.
There's a reason there's an entire subreddit called Florida Man, and it's just reposts of news stories that start with Florida Man, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Florida man caught with penis inside donkey on the side of interstate.
Yeah, if there ever really is a zombie apocalypse, then it's like 99 to 1. It's going to start in Florida. It's going to have to.
It already did a couple of years ago. Remember the best little thing I said?
That was
right. The government just covered it up.
That's right.
Yeah.
They contained the outbreak, covered it up. Boom.
Yeah.
I don't know if that should give us hope for the future or not. Maybe they should have just let it happen.
They should have let it at least eat out all of Florida, and then we could just go down there and settle. It's a free land. Anywho, we got lots to talk about this week. Batman vs. Superman.
It happened.
We'll say pretty much spoiler free because not everybody sitting at this table is cool and has seen the movie. We're talking to Jay.
Oh, whoops. It's always me.
Yeah, had to make it an open at night, or not actually that often that I go open at night to these things anymore. Usually I just get some time on the opening weekend.
It was unprecedented, historical, the first time in history that Batman and Superman were on a fucking movie at the same time.
Yeah, man, and the most mad I've ever seen critics in my whole life. Like, I really feel this way. Like, I've always had this idea where there's some critics I like, some I don't. I've always said, you just find somebody that you like their opinion. They don't have to like all the same movies you do, but somebody that can get you something if you're going to pay any attention to all the critics. The last few movies I've watched, really, man, the way people talk, especially like this one, I really feel like maybe there's no value at all in critics because all of the arguments I've seen about how much everybody hates Batman versus Superman, it's like vitriol. It's like they're mad. It's like they feel like it's assault on them. Like, how dare you make this movie the way that you made it? Like, I can't believe you would do it. Like, not just like, these are the things I don't like about it. Like, you know, it's pretty crazy. But despite all the terrible critical stuff, $170 million opening week, so fuck them.
I just don't understand it. Like, I mean, oftentimes, okay, I am more favorable than a lot of people when it comes to superhero movies, like I always have been. I've become more critical as I've seen millions of them now, as they've been cranked out, but okay, I like Green Lantern. I know it was a bad movie. By watching it, I can tell you it was not a good movie, but it had enough things in it about Green Lantern, being a diehard Green Lantern fan, and I liked it. But I could understand why the majority of movie-going public hated that movie. But this one, I really don't get.
Yeah, one of the reasons I hated Green Lantern was because I thought it looked like shit. This movie was one of the coolest looking movies I've seen. It was definitely the Snyder style, but it wasn't like straight up 300, like, you know, the way that goes. Like, it looked great. Like I said, there are legit complaints, like even when we left the theater that I didn't think it was a perfect movie. There were times where like it moved a little slow and it was like a little bit clunky. But there was also really great things, and nobody really talks about them. The only thing people really say, even the negative reviews, are like, most of them say they liked Affleck as Batman. Some of them don't even like that, which I'm just like, he's without a shadow of a doubt the best Batman or Bruce Wayne we've ever seen. He was perfect as both of them.
I agree. And spoiler alert, minor spoiler.
It's okay.
Minor spoiler.
I'm watching it anyway.
This is definitely, unequivocally, the Frank Miller Batman. This is not like the Batman animated series Batman. And I saw one of my buddies on Facebook, who's a very popular blogger and podcaster. He had a good analogy on this. He said, for fans of the old DC continuity, the people who are complaining that this is not my Batman, this is not my Superman, for them, they really just need to go back to the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, DC animated universe, because they will probably never get it more right than that as far as trying to capture the heart of that version of those characters. So this is an entirely different thing, and you have the multiverse, so you have the explanation of why these characters are different. And in this case, it's a very dark, serious thing. They've gone the entire opposite tone of the Marvel movies, and I don't blame them for that. But even if you don't like it, even if I didn't like it, I have to say I wouldn't blame them for it. I do like it, but
you want to provide something different.
You can't just go out there and copy Marvel. And a lot of people were pissed that there wasn't a post-credits thing in that. But again, you can't just go trying to copy Marvel.
And you didn't really need the post-credits. I mean, everything that's going to set up the upcoming movies happened during the film. Which, I mean, I thought they did that fine. It was a thing that made it last a little bit longer probably. And some of the times, I didn't think it was completely crappy though. They worked it into the script and made it of somewhat importance to the story of them discovering that there were a bunch of people out there, Aquaman and Flash and so on and so forth. But to the people that hate the movie, they're like, this is just the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen, whatever. I'm just like, the first 30 to 40 minutes and the last 45, those make it to where even if you didn't like the middle of it, which I thought it was a little bit slow, how can you say this is just terrible? And dude, and you don't see anybody even talking about the fucking fight with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman fighting against
Doomsday.
Against Doomsday. Dude, it might be the best superhero fight I've ever seen in a movie. It had so much awesome stuff in it that you really dreamed of seeing on fucking screen.
Yeah, it was unprecedented. They've never hit that level of action.
And add to that 20 minutes before Batman, even though you get to see a lot of it in the trailer, being the most Batman he's ever been in any movie. When he goes in and beats the shit out of all those guys, that's you're oh, it's Batman the Ninja from the comics. This is the greatest trained martial art guy. He's got the best suit he's ever had. Not only awesome looking, which is kind of a in between the Dark Knight Returns and probably Hush style, Jim Lee style suit, kind of has a lot of stuff from both those suits. It's also functional. He doesn't look even as awesome as I loved all of the Christopher Nolan movies, Batman still always kind of looked like he couldn't turn his neck, blah, blah.
Stiff.
Yeah, he wasn't in this. He looked like he could fight. Everything looked great. I just, one thing, they might have given a little bit too much away in the trailers, so maybe if you hadn't seen some of the big moments, coming in this.
I was very worried about that from the beginning, and I was right. That was my only real major bitch, was they gave way too much away in the trailer.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman, when she shows up to, save Batman, in the trailer, that still got a little bit of applause in the theater. I feel like if they wouldn't have shown that in the trailer, it would have gotten, a crazy amount of applause when she showed up, because people were so happy.
And that Wonder Woman theme music, though, that's the shit.
Yeah, Gal Gadot. Yes. She is she's perfect.
So fucking awesome.
She, seriously, any scene she's in, she steals. She was perfect as Wonder Woman. That theme music was also, it does get you pumped.
Yeah.
The Wonder Woman movie, you're just I can't wait to see,
she's gonna kick. So that movie's probably gonna be the movie that, people turn the corner on the DC universe and be okay.
Yeah, if Suicide Squad doesn't get them, because we got Suicide Squad's up next, and that's going to be the next one next year. But, I love the movie, and, I completely agree that it was a little clunky. Some of the stuff that happened in it was a little... It wasn't probably the best script in the world for a movie, but if you take all of the elements individually, everything worked really well for me. And and Superman finally at the end. Now I thought probably, especially since this takes place 18 months after Man of Steel, I thought he wouldn't be emo Superman anymore, that he would have got over that at the end of that movie. well, sorry, spoiler alert, he's still pretty emo through a good bit of this movie, but he definitely becomes the Superman you want him to be by the end of it, which hopefully is what they're going to do going forward. Hopefully the next movie where he shows up, he's going to be the, like, you know, I'm the hero for the people, you know, Superman. And I know, it's obvious at this point, he's never going to be the old time, like, you know, no matter what's going on, like, you know, you're like boy next door, like, you know, Richie Cunningham version of Superman. Like, that guy's probably not going to show up in this universe. But he is going to be, it looks like, a lot closer to probably the Superman people are wanting. Also, one fun fact, and maybe this won't end up being anything. This is one thing that I think is pretty funny and shows just how they have really big plans for the DCU. I noticed online a big thing that came through, and this won't be a spoiler to you because you would never know because the character's not named. In one of the opening scenes, there's a character that gets his head blown off, and you're just like, they don't even give him a name, like he's just with Lois Lane in the Middle East. It's Jimmy Olsen. They just killed him in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And Zack Snyder, and it's really funny, and this is really funny, and this is really good for the people that don't like the movie. He was just like, well, we've got so much going on in all these movies, I never really thought we were really going to be able to use that character, so I thought it was like a fun little thing to throw in. The fun little thing is Jimmy Olsen getting blown away. An unnamed character in the movie, which they didn't even name him, so if they really in the future, somebody else comes in and wants to make a Superman, they could probably they could Smallville it and be like, this is the real Jimmy Olsen. Because they killed Jimmy Olsen in Smallville, they're like, that wasn't him. That was James Olsen. This is the true Jimmy Olsen.
That was his identical cousin.
Yeah, so they could do the same thing if they really wanted to, but I did think that was funny, or I was like, fun little thing to do, have beloved Jimmy Olsen get his head blown off, but as a random character that you don't even know it's him, like until you read the internet, you don't even know it was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen.
Well, did you know the Russian guy who's, you know, one of Luthor's, like, top hitmen in the movie is also apparently a DC villain?
Yeah, I heard that.
Motherfucking KG Beast is
KG Beast made it into the movie, yeah. But I mean, like I said, I loved it. It was some of the best, like, action. There could have been more action. It's funny that one of the main gripes of Man of Steel was like, there was just too much, like, destruction, too much action. This one, there probably wasn't enough. And also, too, man, I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to the movie, because a lot of complaints on this one is like, they did the same shit. Batman's mad at Superman for destroying the city, but then he goes and does the same thing. No. They drew the bad guys to an abandoned place where he knew nobody was at. Nobody got killed. So, rewatch the movie and pay attention, fucks.
I think a lot of people missed shit in the movie. There was a lot of shit people, even like Kevin Smith, who I normally like, am pretty spot on, like his opinions on movies are pretty similar to mine. Yeah. And he didn't like it as much as I did. And some of the shit he was bitching about, though, I was like, but they covered that, you know?
Yeah, there were things they covered. And there were a couple things that I feel like in the movie I didn't think were silly, that if you just say them out loud, like I'm not going to say anything about this because it is a little bit of a spoiler, but the thing that finally unites Batman and Superman,
right.
In the movie it actually worked for me because I thought Ben Affleck did such a good performance on it.
Yeah.
That I bought it. I was like, oh, like he finally, like he needed something to bring him to his humanity, and it happened. But if you just, without watching the movie, say blah, blah, blah is why they finally became friends, it does sound dumb, but actually watching the movie, I thought that it worked.
And he was like, basically, like, well, there's no reason they were fighting, you know. It was dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, there was a reason. Like, he
Yeah.
was mad that Superman fucking destroyed the city.
And he was determined that killing him was the best option.
Yeah.
He thought that killing him was the thing that he had
And
to
it was
do.
clear, like, Batman is clearly the heel in this movie.
Yeah.
And Superman
Yeah.
is clearly the babyface until the end of the big fight.
And then I heard the same thing where people being like, and then Superman's not smart enough to, like, get out of fighting Batman. He showed up and tried to talk to him, and then Batman, like, started kicking his ass. And Superman barely fights back. He just gets his ass kicked a lot. I was like, did you not see that part of the movie? Were you not paying attention to that part where that happened? So, I mean, like I said, I like the movie. Like, I mean, I'd probably give it, like, in an old school review, I'd probably give it, like, an 85 out of 100. Like, I liked it a lot. I thought they had some stuff that could have improved. Some of the flow of the movie could have improved on, but I really, really liked it. And it gets me really pumped up for what's to come in the future. Because a lot of the people look cool. I mean, they did they did the way they introduced the Justice League was just like you get like these little clips where you see them and you'll watch the movie and see how that happens. But some of that stuff looked really badass. Like Cyborg looked really cool in the movie, and he's one of the people that I wasn't like really excited about. But I thought that he looked really cool. And then I'm trying to think. There was one more thing about the movie that I thought was awesome that is not popping up off the top of my head. But yeah, anyways, I'll definitely go see it again in the theater. It's gonna make a ton of money. Like they did a thing where they put it out international, which a lot of people did at the same time. It's already made like $500 million in the world. Like they're gonna make money off of it, and you know, I mean, and it's not. If this was like if they would have gone the Marvel route and this was like the 5th or 6th movie, then I might have been a little bit disappointed at what they put together. But it's not. This is the 2nd movie and almost really the launch. Like Man of Steel, they didn't know they were gonna do the rest of these movies. This is really their first. It counts as the first one in the series, but this is the first movie where they're like, okay, we know there's a big universe, we know there's other characters out there. So I thought it was a perfectly fine movie. I liked it a lot. And like I said, and it had enough individual awesome things that happened in it that made it 100% worth the wait for me.
Lots of awesome credits. Bill Finger got a credit for the first time. That's pretty huge.
Yes.
In a movie. And then also we had Frank Miller and Dan Jurgens, Len Wein also got a special thanks.
Yeah, almost anybody that wrote any sort of comic that like played into this movie at all got credits at the end, which I thought was badass.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's very much 2 stories. It's The Dark Knight Returns used as an origin instead of an ending, which is a very interesting concept and actually works really well in the movie. And then the other story I can't tell you because it'll spoil the ending. So,
okay, I got
it. But it's 2 very famous stories with like the tone of the Injustice games. And that's the thing, like all the fucking critics love those fucking games and the storylines of those games. It's the exact same fucking thing.
And that was the fake out. Like Batman throughout, because I know you've seen the previews where some weird stuff happens. Batman throughout is having these little like fever dreams of like, and it's really what's motivating him to like go after Superman. Like he's imagining like if Superman turns bad, this is the world that we can live in, and it's all ripped from Injustice. Like it all is basically stuff that is what happens, which is the storyline of Injustice. Oh, and the other thing, one of the big things that the critics really ripped on is the fact that it covers the Batman origin story. It covers it in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say a minute and 30
to
seconds,
start the movie,
maybe.
And these little clips, and that's it. It's the closest thing, and it's the beginning credits. It's like how most movies give you stuff where, you know how like, just for example, a Marvel movie or a lot of movies will give you an opening scene, and then it flashes to whatever the name of the movie is, and then they'll show you little credits with comic book things while you're waiting on it to play. It basically ran this in the background as it gave you all of the opening credits. It's, I mean, if I read a review, like I read a few of the reviews just to kind of see, and even the positive ones, if the first thing that came out was like, well, right off the bat, we get the Batman origin, I just stopped reading because I was like, you obviously are looking for things to bitch about because they did that in 3 minutes of this movie. Like, we're good. Like, yeah, true, everybody knows the Batman origin. I know that too. Everybody's like, well, everybody knows the Batman origin. Yeah, but the oldest fucking saying in comics is any comic could be someone's first comic. This could be the first time someone saw a Batman movie.
So you at least got to give them the quick and dirty.
3 minutes.
You know,
exactly.
Quick and dirty, and that's exactly what it was. I loved it, so definitely go check out Batman vs. Superman. Don't listen to the critics. Form your own opinion. If you go watch it and still hate it, let us know, and we'll have a friendly debate. You can follow us on Facebook.com/pottyhumor. Give us a like. Go comment on the Getchyapulls podcast, or YouTube.com/pottyhumor, where all the podcasts are posted.
Yeah, and one quick last little thing about it, because I jotted down in my notes, was it's pretty hilarious, especially if you're a fan of the Walking Dead comics. It's a really big deal. Batman's parents, are fucking Negan and Maggie from The Walking Dead. It's Lauren Cohen that's playing that, and then what's his name? Jeffrey, whatever his name is playing. Who also played the comedian, is playing Thomas Wayne. So I was like, no.
So what's really awesome about Jeffrey Dean Morgan? He's a giant comic nerd. Comic nerd. Like he begged to play Negan. And he asked to get the role. They let him. He has already been in interviews pitching a Flashpoint movie with he and Lauren Cohan. You know, because what happens in the reverse origin in the Flashpoint universe is that instead of the parents, it is Bruce that is killed by the mugger. Yeah. And then, of course, Thomas Wayne becomes Batman and Martha Wayne becomes the Joker. And so, like Jeffrey D. Morgan's already like, yeah, man, like, I was Thomas Wayne, I loved it, and we should, like, totally do a Flashpoint movie. Brian can be Batman.
Yeah, I mean, that would be badass. And another thing, too, that would be badass in the future, too, is because they're doing the separation between the TV, is you could definitely do some sort of a crisis movie where the TV characters cross over. I mean, they have really infinite possibilities on the whole Justice League and all this stuff. And for people that are, like, afraid that are 100% like against kind of the tone of the movie, like James Wan, who's directing the Aquaman movie, has already come out and said he's like it's going to be like a swashbuckling, like kind of like pirate tale type movie about Aquaman. So it's going to be, the movies aren't going to all be exactly the same. And apparently also, even though he's not officially contracted to do it, Affleck announced that he finished a Batman script. So that's pretty badass too. Yeah. But moving on from that, some other DC news. All of which I don't see how you come out of these announcements not excited, but people just like to bitch about anything. DC Rebirth. They finally got all the deets. They were saving them all for WonderCon this past week, and they finally announced all the books, and my wallet's going to be hurting. There's a bunch of books that are coming out. Now, my biggest fear, we'll see how it goes, is the fact that they're going to have rotating artist teams on the books. With them bi-weekly, there's going to be a main artist and another artist who not necessarily mimics the style, but somebody will be working with them. That's going to be like one of the big things.
I'm not a fan of that as long as they break it out by arc, I'm fine. But I cannot fucking stand to be in the middle of an arc and go to the different issue and it switches arcs. That is annoying as fuck.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, the thing that you hope is that their style is going to be similar enough to where it won't be like a big deal. Like, for example, if you were reading Daredevil, like Chris Samney was the main artist, but I can't remember the guy's name. Somebody Rodriguez would fill in, and it was close enough to where you're like, oh, or like the She-Hulk run that Charles Soule did, where it had two artists, but they were at least close enough to where it wasn't like a jarring, like, what the hell, like these people don't look at, alike at all. So hopefully they've done a good job of grouping people together that draw similar. I only think one book's doing this, but I think it is a good idea. We'll go over some of the big announcements here. A bunch of these books are going to be bi-weekly. So that's whether they're twice monthly. I guess they may not necessarily be because they have 5 weeks in the month, so they may not actually be every other week. It's just going to be twice a month. But the big announcement, the big surprise that they had was that Greg Rucka is coming back to Wonder Woman. Rucka, who swore off DC and Marvel Comics a couple of years ago, is coming back, and he's got a pretty badass team. He's got Liam Sharp is doing some of the art, and Liam Sharp is who Jim Lee is calling his big get. He said that he told everybody when the New 52 started, he recruited Capullo to do DC Comics for the first time, and that was his big guy. You see how that's worked out. Liam Sharp, another guy who did Spawn for a while, and then mostly has done like indie comics and done a little bit of work for Marvel. He's being recruited to be one of the main artists on Wonder Woman, and that's the one they're excited about. And then Nicole Scott, who does the art on Black Magic, the really awesome Rucka Critter-owned book, which sadly is going to take a hiatus during the first few months of this Wonder Woman. Is going to be doing the other art, and he's doing two different arts. So she is drawing what he's calling Wonder Woman Year One. So you're going to get, every other week, you're going to get current time Wonder Woman will have a story, and then the 2 weeks later, it'll be Wonder Woman Year One. So the two different artists are doing two totally different arcs. So
that's kind of cool.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But that was one of their big gets. Going through a few, I'll just run through some of the creative teams here, and then we can talk about them. Batman, the Batman group, that was some of the big announcements. Tom King, who right now is doing The Vision, Sheriff of Babylon. He was kind of like everybody thought would maybe get Batman because he was a guy, that everybody's been kind of excited about. And he's getting Batman. And David Finch is going to be the main artist on that. David Finch, one of the best Batman artists there is going to be doing the art on there. So that's pretty awesome. James Tynion's finally earned himself detective after doing these Eternals the past couple of years. He's going to be writing detective. Eddie Barrows, who did a lot of Nightwing art when the New 52 first started, who's really good. He's the main artist on it. That's pretty exciting. And then everybody was wondering what was going to happen with Snyder Well, All-Star Batman is happening with Snyder. So Snyder, it's just going to be a monthly book. So just once a month is going to have an all-star team of people. He said some of it's going to be like big arcs. Some of them will just be one-offs. He said it's going to be like his version of like the Long Halloween, where it's going to be all about the villains. And he started out, just announced a few names.
Man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that
Sounds awesome. Yeah, John Romita Jr. does the first arc, so we're going to get to have Romita.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Todd's not here, so we'll just act like he just came all over the table, and then we'll clean with that. But John Romita Jr. is in the first arc. He announced Jock's going to do an arc. Sean Gordon Murphy is going to do an arc.
Man,
It's basically
that's
gonna be-
great.
It's going to be Snyder and the best artists in comics doing a year-long Batman story that's all about the villains, where he said he's got these great... He said his goal is by the end of this for Two-Face to be like as feared as the Joker. He said it's this great Two-Face story, along with throwing in a bunch of these other guys, and he's doing that. And even greater news than that is in 6 or 7 months, Capullo's coming back, and who knows, but him and Capullo have DC stories to tell. Maybe it won't be Batman, maybe it'll be a different book, but that'll be coming later. My theory on that is maybe it'll be the JLA, because they said there's definitely going to be a JLA book, but they're not announcing it yet. So maybe that's what they'll do, because he said they may be doing something a little bigger than they've ever done, so maybe they'll graduate to that.
Yeah,
A couple other Batgirl. So here's another one, Batgirl, that I'm a little afraid I may have to add now. See, Hope Larson's doing the writing, which she's somebody who has gotten a following from doing just some graphic novels. But this is like her first superhero stuff, I believe. But Raphael Albuquerque is going to be doing the monthly art on Batgirl. He's the main artist on that, one of my absolute favorite artists. So there's that. Then we've also got Nightwing. Tim Seeley is going to be writing Nightwing, so that is badass. Javi Hernandez is the main artist on there. And then moving on from there, another book that I definitely wouldn't have added, but because actually of some of the really awesome stuff from the DCU, this next book is going to be written by Rob Williams, who's writing the really great Martian Manhunter that I'll actually talk a little about in my pulls. Secondary artist, or one of the two artists, Philip Tan, who I like a lot. Main artist, Jim Lee, doing Suicide Squad.
Oh, shit.
So that's going to be a must get. That's a must get for me right there. Because obviously love Jim Lee, and then on top of that, Rob Williams is just killing it on Martian Manhunter. So giving him those characters in Suicide Squad excites me a lot. Some of these I didn't get all the team stuff. Teen Titans, I didn't get who's doing all the book, but I really love the premise. The gimmick of it is Damian Wayne has decided he's the leader of the Teen Titans. They don't want him. And that's the book. That sounds great to me. I'm like, that sounds like a perfect idea.
And they're doing an animated movie like right at the launch that is almost that exact same story. So it seems like they're really trying to line up this
Tie in
shit.
everything. Yeah, I think that comes out on I think it's actually VOD right now, and then it comes out on Blu-ray in 2 weeks, I think, the Titans versus Justice League movie.
That's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. That book sounds, the premise on that book, I'm just like, yeah, I wish if I had infinite money, I would probably get almost all these books. See, a couple others running through. I don't know about Justice League, because I really need to, now I'm going to have to read some JLA. Tony Daniels on the art, who's fantastic. Brian Hitch is writing it. He's writing and drawing a JLA right now. He's a great artist. I don't know a lot about his writing, so I'm going to have to look into it a little bit before I can give my twice monthly dollars, which luckily are $2.99. They've moved the book. All the books are $2.99 now, even the ones that are just once a month. So
that's great.
Yeah, they've gone back to that price point. So
that's a good way to compete with Marvel, because Marvel will price your ass out of fucking business any day, man. God damn, they got fuck. Oh, by the way, here's a $10 issue. Sorry, I didn't tell you.
It just showed up in your box.
Absolutely. Josh Williamson, who I like a lot, who's doing so great.
Dude!
He's moving on to The Flash, one of your maybe your favorite DC book.
Yeah.
One of the ones you've kept the whole run of the 52.
From number one, baby.
Always afraid of who they're going to give those books that we love so much, but Josh Williams is getting it. He said it's a story he's been working on for years. He said 2 years ago he pitched the story to Dan Didio. Dan Didio was like, nope, not right now, but now he's letting him tell it, so he's really excited on it. So I'm really excited for that. A couple others. Dan Abnett is officially going to be the writer on Aquaman, so he's going to be the guy going forward on it. The Rebirth special, Jeff Johns is writing it, and there's going to be I think there's 4 artists. I think we get Ethan Van Sciver's one of them. a couple other guys, but it's 80 pages, only going to be $2.99. That's coming out to kick it off. So
that's badass.
It's like you just have to get it so that you can see what's
like,
coming.
hey man, we want you back. But like, because the New 52 started off great and then fizzled out real quick.
Yeah.
And then like there were certain books that stayed really strong. But like for the most part, like they shuffled the lineup around, like they canceled a bunch of shit constantly that wasn't selling. And so like, I really feel like this is the first time DC Comics have generated any real excitement, especially since like Convergence. Like people were like, "Oh, is this going to be a big event?" And it just shit the bed entirely, you know?
Yeah.
See previous episodes.
Yeah.
About that.
And Convergence was a real marketing problem for them more than anything, I think, because they were like, "We're going to do this cool little thing which I still don't understand. They're like, we're moving to Florida or moving to California." Not to Florida because they don't want to be on the front line of the zombie apocalypse. They moved to California, and they were like, "Well, we can't do regular books for 2 months because the editors are going to be moving their shit." Which most of the fucking writers and artists, they're not moving to California. So the fact they couldn't just email them the goddamn scripts, I will never get over. But they were like, "So we'll do this cool little weird event for 2 months where we'll bring in all these dudes who haven't written books in years." And
show why they haven't written books in years.
and then the people like me and you that aren't nerds on the internet that didn't know, oh, this is going to be some dumb thing that's probably going to suck, I'm not going to pay that much attention to it, just showed up at the comic shop and goes, "Oh, what's this? Convergence. I'll try it," and didn't know it was just this little fill-in thing because it was a giant event and it sucked.
Oh, it sucked so hard.
It really was a terrible move by them to do that. They should have just put out the regular books and just not edited them like crazy.
It killed any interest I had in DC Comics beyond the Flash and Batman at that point. Like even Aquaman, was the Cullen Bunn and taking over, and it was okay. But like now, like these announcements get me fucking excited, and I want to be happy for DC Comics because they, kind of edge a little bit just because like. Love Marvel. Marvel let me fall back in love with comics, but DC was my first love, So it's like, yeah.
And a few other quick books. They announced they're doing a Blue Beetle, which I haven't done one of those since in a while. That's coming back. Birds of Prey is coming back. So I think they're doing the team of Catwoman and Poison Ivy and Barbara Gordon. That's going to be the Birds of Prey. They're doing Supergirl Monthly. And, they're doing, of course, Action, Superman. The Superman books are the only thing that I wasn't super interested in. I'll have to see a little bit. Action and Detective are both going back to the original numberings. Everything else is getting a number one.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, Action's going back to, what's his fucking name? Their fucking writer from the 80s and 90s for Dan Jurgens is writing Action.
Okay. Well, Dan Jurgens, didn't he write the one, Convergence book that everybody liked? Wasn't that Dan Jurgens?
That he kept, the Lois and Clark that he kept writing since. He's kept writing. He's doing a Superman Lois and Clark now, and they're going back to that. I guess we'll see in Convergence how this all happens, but they're doing Clark and Lois are married now in the continuity with a kid, so they're going back to that, the old, kind of continuity of that. Apparently they're going to do something where somebody did something where they all remember that they've just forgotten a bunch of their life or some weird shit. Who knows? It's comics, so we're all going to accept it. Even
whatever. Just start it over and let us just fucking jump on. You don't even need to explain it.
The books just look a little weird. I guess spanning out of the end of the Johns Justice League, which is sad that's ending, which something we should talk about. Jeff Johns might have just had the best fucking run on Justice League anybody's ever had.
I don't think it's up for debate.
It's a little overshadowed by Snyder and Capullo may have just had the best run anybody ever had on Batman. Mm-hmm. If you think about, they just did 50 issues and not, Frank Miller had a bunch of great stories, but nobody's ever had fucking 4, actually going on 5 years now of great stories they did. But with John's leaving, apparently in Action, Lex Luthor is Superman. He's declared himself the Superman of Metropolis. And old man, the old continuity, Lois and Clark, or, of course, Clark's going to think that's dumb. There's this new book, which I think this is a good idea. They took the guy who's writing Superman now, that Gene Lang guy, or Yang, and he's writing, I think a Chinese Superman, maybe. It's just called the Superman, and it's going to be somehow some kid I think it's in China, has Superman's powers, and so I think that's really smart, especially with the Chinese box office.
It's an untapped market for a lot of American shit that they want.
And it's one of the things that I gripe about so much, which I like that they're doing. Instead of just being oh, Clark is just going to be Clark now, and this guy's going to be Superman. You just make somebody else to represent, like create a new character instead of giving fucking, Superman's alias just to some, random other sort of, diverse character. You just create a new character. For the love of God. Then there's going to be like a Superwoman book that they say is a brand new character. There's a bunch of Superman stuff. Other than Supergirl looks cool, there's a bunch of Superman stuff that I'm not sure about. There's going to be a Sons of, it's called the Super Sons book. It's going to be Damian Wayne and Superboy teaming up. That's something.
Sons of Krypton?
Yeah.
Dude, that's my house.
Yeah. I mean, they got a bunch of, Christopher Priest is going to be writing Deathstroke. Now, I don't know a lot about him. I know he wrote a really acclaimed Black Panther.
Yeah, I was about to say, he wrote a really awesome Black Panther run.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really excited about the fact he's doing Deathstroke, and apparently they were like pitching, they're like, Deathstroke's one of those characters that's really hard to get right, and they think he's the guy that's going to like do the great Deathstroke story.
That could be good.
And of course, the big rumor looming around all this is they said they've got other books. Like, we got a JLA, we have a Legion of Superheroes. We got 3 or 4 books we didn't announce, and a couple of those are because we're finalizing stuff from surprises. The big rumor on that is that Jonathan Hickman's either going to be writing that JLA or that Legion of Superheroes. That would be a crazy huge get for them.
I'd rather way see him on JLA. Not that Legion of Superheroes is fun. Sometimes it can be good, but like to me, the novelty wears thin pretty quick on them, like because it's just Saturn Boy and Moon Girl, and it's like they do different shit, but they're also very similar, and they look very similar. And like, Brainiac 5, who's a cool character, but like, I don't know about the Legion. Like, they're not my favorites.
Is that where Dr. Fate's at? And some of the stuff?
Maybe.
I don't know. They move people around so much, so I'm not sure. But that was one of the rumors, and there's also a rumor that they're gonna do like a JSA or something book where somehow like the characters from the 40s, they actually just transport them into today.
Dave, people have been begging for that since and they tried to do it in the New 52, but it was like just in Earth 2.
Yeah,
and people didn't like that. Like they shit on all that, because those characters are beloved. There's a sect of DC fans that like cosplay as nothing but those characters.
Yeah.
Like you see them at the cons. Like they're hardcore JSA people, and like they want Alan Scott Green Lantern, and they want fucking Jay Garrick Flash with the fucking tin hat, and fucking Ted Grant the Wildcat and all that shit.
Yeah, but that's one of the big rumors is that something's going to happen that's going to transport them into now, and that'll be a book going forward. So really excited. Hardest thing for me about Rebirth is just deciding which books I can afford. Yeah. But really pumped up for all those books coming.
Hell yeah. On the Marvel front, of course, we talked about Civil War, and we'll talk more about that in the weeks to come. But Daredevil Season 2 has hit Netflix, and my, oh my, is it fantastic. I'm not finished yet. I'm on episode 9. I got 3 to go.
Ooh.
Or I just finished episode 9. I got 3 to go.
Yeah, I finished it last week. It was badass.
You haven't watched it yet? No. You watched any of it? Mm-mm.
I mean,
What the fuck? Do you have Netflix?
Well, I was going to, but then I started rewatching Lost of all things, and then now I'm like stuck on that again.
You gotta watch Daredevil.
I've heard it's very good, not just
Hey, guess what? In the last episode of season 2, it's great. So stop watching Lost, because you know how that's going to end.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not one person in purgatory.
I mean, Daredevil may be the best thing Marvel's done, and that's
really?
like artistically, and that's saying something, like, because they've done some really badass shit, but like, as far as like getting it right from the comics, like exactly, like nothing has been more right than Daredevil. Like, it's been just better than I ever could have fucking imagined. Like, Kingpin was so good, and then like you think, well, there's no way Shane from The Walking Dead is going to be the greatest Punisher of all time, but he's probably going to be pretty good. Like, no, instantly, he's by far the best Punisher of all time.
He's perfect Punisher, and in the last episode, you get a couple of great moments, like with a lot of the characters that'll mark you out hardcore. But it was awesome, and I also feel like it's leading down to I feel like next season is all going to be about getting Matt Murdock into a really super depressed like state to where he's going to go off the rails. Because this season ends, without spoiling anything at all, some things go really good, some things go really bad.
Man, I don't even know.
Yeah, so we're going to have to wait.
Like, Bullseye hasn't even showed up on the show yet, so it's like we've got, that's like, oh my god, there's just so much awesomeness yet to come even for Daredevil.
Yeah.
And that whole universe, really.
Yeah, and have you gotten Have you gotten to Punisher Goes to Jail yet?
I got a Punisher is on trial, and
mini spoiler, he goes to jail.
well, I figured it was.
And
It's not looking good for him. But the ending of the last episode I saw is like he's in jail, and the dude takes him. He's like the bailiff that's obviously on the take.
Yeah,
takes him out, and he's like, "I got somebody I want you to meet. It's fucking Kingpin in the fucking jail." So it's like, oh.
Well, the next episode about that is as you can imagine happens. Kingpin's running the jail, and like. The majority of it's about how he takes over the jail, and it's a fucking great 45 minutes of TV.
Oh my god, I can't wait!
It's great. Yeah. Daredevil season 2 is fucking definitely the best Netflix season of anything that's happened. It's been really great.
And, that's pretty much all I got. Like, Agent Carter, what I saw was pretty good, but I didn't really make it through it. So, Walking Dead has been, like, the best season of that show ever.
Yeah.
Negan!
I know, what the fuck? So we got a WrestleMania party on Sunday, while at the same time they're airing the Walking Dead season finale. So I got to decide, do I leave early and come home and watch it live? Or do I come home and try to get it later? Or do I fucking...
I mean, the problem is Negan's going to show up. They've shown everything but his face in the preview for this week's episode. They showed Lucille. Negan is going to show up. And he's probably going to kill some people.
And some assholes are going to spoil it on Facebook while I'm at WrestleMania.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the big task is, it's not about the assholes. It's, do you have enough willpower to not get on Facebook?
I have the willpower. 2 hours. I have the willpower. That's easy. It's not fucking hard for me to not check my phone. I can put that son of a bitch down for 3 hours and not look at it. But what is hard is not that I'm going to be at a party with 20 or 30 other motherfuckers and they're all going to have their phones on Facebook and I can see one of them, oh my god, they just killed Daryl.
Yeah,
they're like teasing like what's up with that. Yeah, they're stringing that out. What's going to happen there? I don't think they're going to kill him off. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Based on the finish of that last episode, I'm kind of rethinking. I was kind of thinking he was going to be the guy that Negan gets.
I feel like they might very possibly really giving us the runaround on the fact that it is going to be Glenn.
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility.
And also going to, really quick, to jump into the Arrow universe, I feel like I'm just really positive that Detective Lance is going to be the dead one.
That sounds like a good probability. Now, I have not watched last night's episode, so don't.
I haven't watched last night's episode either. Yeah,
I'm up to that far,
but I feel like so far, and maybe, and who knows, it could be Detective Lance and also, what's her face? I can't think of people's names ever. What's her name's mom?
Felicity's mother?
Could be Felicity's mom. Could be both of them. Or it could just be one of them. It's one of those two. It's guaranteed one of those two. That's who they're looking at that grave. That's my thing. Anyways, I guess we could talk about some pulls.
Get our pulls. It's why we're here.
Yeah, we'll go through a few of these. Some good and okay. Superman American Alien number 5. It was good. It was really good again. This one has a fucking Francis Manapul does the art on it, so that's badass.
Yeah.
Superman's wearing something dumb in it. That's my only takeaway is he's wearing something dumb, but it's it's still a really good issue.
I need to borrow that.
Ringside number 5. It's dropped. It's just not talking about wrestling. This is nothing wrestling related. Like the whole gimmick of the book is like find out what they're doing when they're not in the ring, and it's like apparently this guy's working for the mob and having to kill people and.
Is that really how it is behind the scenes?
No, I mean, sometimes, but most of the time it's just boring.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the time you're just sitting there talking about comics, and they're like, I got an hour till the match. Okay, did you guys watch The Walking Dead?
I mean, it's like,
or you're driving and singing and trying to stay away.
Yeah, in my era, it was a little more rowdy, and in the eras before that, it was a little more rowdy and so forth. But, like, nowadays, most of the kids in wrestling are just big nerds. They're not, like, the crazy outlaw tough guys of old that want to raise hell, which is a good thing, because, I stay out of trouble more that way.
And the generic, like, the way that, like, your dad, like, if your dad watched a wrestling documentary and decided he would start giving you throw some wrestling lingo in, that writing is just finally wore tooth in on me. They're going to send this guy to developmental because he's old, and they're like, we know you're a good hand. We think you can train the greenhorns. Like, it's like, they don't talk like that. Like, nobody talks like that. Yeah, you're using the right words, but you're not using them right. Like, it doesn't, it doesn't work for me. So we'll see. Maybe you'll like this issue and you can get you an Image book, but I can't hold on to it. I was wanting to love it.
If I like it so much that I add it, then I'll just like buy the other ones off of you or something.
Exactly. I wanted so badly to love this book, and when they announced the premise of it, I was like, this is the book that me and Dan should have been trying to write instead of these other ideas we had, because we know all about this. But now,
you guys would have done a better job.
But now that I've read the first 5 issues, my thought is, this thing's going to get canceled in a few, and then in like 2 years we can do it, because enough time will have passed and people will forget this. But
well, there's another wrestling comic about a dude who's actually in wrestling called Headlocked that Jerry Lawler does a lot of the art for, and it's allegedly fucking awesome, but it's not like distributed by Diamond. You have to buy it like direct from the dude.
Okay, well fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Mike Quackenbush is about to have a comic about a masked luchador. Fucking Mike Quackenbush.
And Quack's a nice guy. I don't like his flavor of ice cream of wrestling is not my flavor of ice cream, but he's always been very cordial, and he's a cool dude. Like, he's always been very respectful, and he always put me over. So
his flavor of wrestling ice cream is a big triple scoop, and on the middle scoop, someone has written in pencil, "It's fake, motherfucker," on it. But anyways, we'll move on to some more comics. I'm not in the business anymore. I can say that shit. So we've got Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death. I really like this. It's a little mini series. I've really liked it so far. Also, very booby Poison Ivy on the cover of this book. I'm just gonna say it. I was gonna say it. They slipped one through editorial and they're like, we're gonna draw a hot girl in the front of a comic. And somebody's like, well, a woman writes it, so I guess it's okay.
Man, I'm all about, like, Poison Ivy to me has always been one of my major comic crushes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, so.
Yeah.
Please.
She's hottie.
Yeah, I love her. This book's really good. I really hope to. Rumor is, like, it could be one of the ones that maybe she'll get her own book, like, a couple months into Rebirth, and I really hope so. That's the sound of me opening this book. Because I gotta remember. I remember I loved it, but I don't remember what happened. Legend of Wonder Woman #3. I've really, really liked this book so far. It's just a retelling of, like, Wonder Woman's origin, but the art's really good and the book's really good. And, like, I would tell you, this is the type of book that, like, if you were, like, going to give, like, your kid who's old enough to read comics, like a little girl a comic, try to get her into it, this is the one. Like, the art style is, like, very inviting. Like, it's good, but it's also almost looks like a little, like an animated style, like that would be in, like, a kid's cartoon. But it's really beautiful. It's a really, really good book. This one, Steve Trevor, the gimmick of it is just a bunch of the Amazonians have had a plot to try to overthrow Diana and her mother, and they're trying to hide Steve Trevor so they don't get killed, because him getting killed is part of the plot. It was really good. Martian Manhunter #10 is awesome. There's only 2 more issues left, because with the Rebirth, we're going to get 12 Martian Manhunters. That's the way all these that launched at this time are going to be. So we're going to get 12 of it. We get 12 of Mega Men. But this Martian Manhunter is pretty badass. It has, like, a bunch of really awesome stuff in it. You get a little boy Martian Manhunter. You get, like, a more of a story. Pretty much it finishes off the, like, what happened to John Jones, and, like, why he split and all these different people and stuff. And then it was great. And then at the end of it, it looks like Mr. Biscuits might have bit the dust, and I hope he didn't, because he's the best.
Mr. Biscuits! No!
The best thing, the 2 best things that came out of the DCU were, in my opinion, Tom King writing Omega Man, because I love it, and then fucking Mr. Biscuits, because he's the best. Next, honorable mention pick of the week, Daredevil #5 came out this week. It's the end of the first Charlie Soule, Ron Garney arc. It was really badass. I'm really, really loving this. I was afraid when Mark Waid came off, because he had such a great run on Daredevil, but this one is really, really good. Definitely taking it, like, a little bit darker. But this arc ends, and Charles Soule said he's got, like, a really long story planned out where everything's going to kind of add up in the end. So this one ends, but it leaves a bunch of the strings loose for later. But it's badass, and then the preview for issue 6 shows Elektra showing up, so, like, you're already excited for the next one. So really excited on it. And then pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
Batman #50.
Rightfully so.
Yes. the end of the Super Heavy storyline. The next to last issue with Snyder and Capullo. So next issue is really just like a celebration issue where I think Snyder said he just barely scripted it and kind of letting Capullo do his thing to celebrate that that's going to be their last issue working together for a little while. Yeah, it was great. New bat suit that I really like.
Yeah, it looks good.
It seems to be really positive reviews. I've seen online and stuff. Everybody really likes the new bat suit. He didn't alter it a ton. He just added a few little things to it that made it look really awesome. But it's finally, after all the months, Bruce
is back.
Last issue embraced that he's Batman. This issue, he's being Batman. He's kicking ass. He's been really awesome. Him and Gordon team up and, get Mr. Bloom pretty good. And then the last few pages are like you said before. It's really epilogue, and it's really good. And some little things that happen there are going to set up like moving things that are going to be happening moving forward. Like I think like Duke, one of the Robins from the We Are Robin thing. He's in the book a little bit here, and I think he's going to be the Robin actually moving forward, like on the detective team.
That makes sense.
I heard that was the gimmick, was that Bruce and Batwoman are going to be training, like giving better training to like some of the people. They're going to Duke as Robin and Cassandra Cain and her new character, and then Tim Drake's going to be back. He's Red Robin, but he's back with Bruce working. So that's and this set up for a little bit of it too. Which apparently also, that's the Batman Rebirth #1. Some of those are getting like a Rebirth issue, then they're #1s. And then some of them are getting straight #1s. And apparently it's a Snyder Tom King book that's setting up the whole Bat universe moving forward, spinning out of this.
Slides the transition.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But I love that Batman, man. I mean, you could talk for an hour, and we've sucked the dicks of Snyder and Capullo so many times on the show that you don't have to go on this thing. But really great. Like one of the things that, since I was a kid, which I never got monthly comics as a kid, because there just weren't that many comic book stores. I mean, most of the comics I got as a kid, I'd get a pack of them from Walmart, or I had some that my uncles gave me.
Yeah, they still had newsstand comics when we were a kid. That ultimately went the way of the
you could get those at the grocery store, like the Buy Low is what it was called here. You could grab some comics, or seriously, the drugstore. Like you could go into like CVS or something and grab some comics.
I got my first comic at a friggin' gas station when my grandmother and mom were like playing Georgia Scratch-Off tickets because they first started the lottery, and that was the birth of me getting into comics.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got most of my comics. Like when I was a kid, were random, and there were a few comic stores, but then by the time I really got interested, most of them were gone. And when you're a kid, you can't drive, so the fact that there's a comic store like one town over means you aren't going to get to go there.
Might as well be in fucking Michigan.
Exactly. So the first time I ever bought monthly comics, other than one time where I randomly, because I love Halloween so much, if you listen to the first fucking volume of the Midnight Black Mass, or we did the Muji Movie Minute, you know how much we love the horror. Or how much I love Michael Myers, but the only time I'd ever bought monthly comics was they came out with like these Halloween comics, and I bought like the 5 of those from a comic book store. That was my only comic book store experience. But the New 52s was my entry point into buying monthly comics, and this Batman was one of the very first books I got that I was like, oh shit, like, this is going to definitely be a new obsession. So it was my first favorite comic book that I bought on a monthly basis. So sad that the partnership's over. Glad it lasted the whole thing. They did the whole volume together, so really badass.
Yeah, it'll have to go down as one of the best runs in comic history. It's some of my all-time favorite Batman shit, so, hard to beat. So, my polls, I had a few. I didn't have too many this week, but I had a few. Darth Vader number 17, the Lord of the Sith, still wreaking havoc in the galaxy. This was a great issue, just showing Vader being a badass. He's still on this other planet regulating shit. Like teaching them how to rule, and how to deal with people who cross them, and so
you kill him.
He fucked those motherfuckers up. And of course, the search is still on for Dr. Afro, which we know from reading the Star Wars book is currently captured by the rebels.
In the new Star Wars, you can learn a little bit more about that.
And, of course, these bounty hunters come in at the end of the book and are like, oh, we got her. And he sees the bones and, can tell, I guess, with the Force that it's not her. And so he's like, oh, you trying to fucking get one over on me,
motherfucker? What are you trying to pull here?
What are you trying to pull on me? This is not a mistake one repeats, bounty hunter. Okay. And Vader crushes that motherfucker, and you find out there's a nefarious plot against him in the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
There always is.
Because you can't trust them motherfuckers.
When you're the big man, somebody's got to take you down.
That's the damn thing about the Empire. Like, whew. But I guess it's like that's probably the thing about the rebellion too. But they just don't make no bones about it in the Empire. They're like, yeah, we're gonna kill you and take your spot.
Yeah. In the Empire too. I mean, you've always. I mean, it's pretty loose, man. When you go back to the prequels, like it's all predicated. Like you got to think the Emperor's walking around for years, being like, at some point, Anakin's gonna like think back and be like, he really duped me. I should kill that motherfucker. So of course he's looking for somebody to get him. It's like he pulled a fucking 100% Looney Tunes fucking Roadrunner coyote trap on me, and I fucking killed all those kids and all my friends. I'm such a fucking idiot. I should kill him.
He starts drinking heavy.
Yeah. Staying in the Star Wars universe, speaking of Vader, but going back in time to the undocumented period of his Jedi training.
Yeah, I have not checked that book out yet.
Anakin and Obi-Wan miniseries.
Well,
yes, and it's been tremendous. I love it because it's that period of time they don't cover when he's actually training with the Jedi in the temple. And so this continues the adventure where he and Palpatine go down to the underworld of Coruscant to see some of the seedy shit going on. And Palpatine's like trying to show him really what's up. So you see that like his influence has kind of been a guiding hand there the whole time he's been with the Jedi. So then it kind of, again, with all of these great talented people who come in and try to fill in the gaps that George Lucas left plenty of in those prequels, again makes the story a little more plausible with his fall from grace. Because if you think, oh, well, he's been, manipulating him for many, many years and not just within the last 20 minutes of this movie, then it makes a whole lot more sense. And you see them try to use Anakin's emotions against him, this gang of pirates that they've sort of, by proxy, buddied up with, of course, eventually turns on them, and they use the young girl who's about Anakin's age to try and seduce him, and he kind of falls for her, not seducing because he's a kid, but, she's like, giving him the puppy dog eyes, and ends up swiping his lightsaber and fucking throwing it out the window. And so then the ship blows up. It looks like Obi-Wan's on it. Of course, we know he's not because we know Star Wars. But I love the story, and it's been really badass, and I really enjoy seeing that undocumented time from Anakin's history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right before we get to the pick of the week,
I hate to even talk about this because we talk about it so much, but Anakin is like a fucking. He's like a cat. Like, you ever had a cat bring you a bird and be like, hey, I killed this bird for you, and you're like, get that gross bird away from me, cat. Like, I know you're trying to, like, be cool and kill me a bird, but whatever. What happens if Amidala doesn't die and he's like, I saved you. The way I did it was I had to kill all the kids at the Jedi Temple, but I saved you. That was his best case scenario, the fucking moron.
That's true, yeah.
I'm telling you, he doesn't deserve to be in Jedi heaven. His shadow hanging out with Obi-Wan's and fucking, and Yoda's bullshit, but let's keep going.
I wish Yoda would
Let's keep going.
so I picked up this little ditty at the comic book store because I only had one pull that week, and I was like, well, shit, I don't even have enough money to run my debit card. I gotta get something else.
Buddy's either gonna make you buy 2 Cokes or a comic.
I had to buy a Coke today, so I'm signing a book.
Well, I was like, well, shit, I've read a bunch of these stories, and I even have some of them, but it's to commemorate Batman vs. Superman. DC released a compilation of Batman vs. Superman's greatest battles. And you have some really cool recent stuff in here.
Sweet hush cover there, Jim Lee.
Yes, you have The Battle from Batman 612 in 2003 by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. You have One Night in Gotham City by John Byrne and Dick Giordano from Man of Steel number 3, 1986.
And John Byrne.
Who Would Win? Superman Batman number 78, 2011 from Joe Kelly on the story and Ed Bennis on the art. And that's a really cool story. It's just like 2 kids arguing like who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman, and like so each of them presents like a scenario where one could beat the other. And it's just a little short story, a bunch of short stories. It's really cool. Justice League Part 2 from 2011 by Jeff Johns, where the Joker infects all the Justice League and Batman and Superman have to fight.
like that.
Batman Endgame 1 and 2 from 2014. Snyder Batman number 35 and 36. And The Dark Knight Falls from Batman Dark Knight number 4, which is from Dark Knight Returns.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's just, just a bunch of cool Batman and Superman stories, a nice little toilet book you can pick up and say, I just want to read 5 minutes, I want to read Batman and Superman. So I really enjoyed it. I haven't read them all, but I've read most of them and dug it. But,
Awesome.
the pick of the week. Walking Dead number 152, United in Fear. See, Rick's got the nice propaganda going in the community.
Yeah.
He sat down with Negan and talked about how to rule his people. And of course, they've come up with propaganda. So Rick's really started becoming a politician lately.
Yeah, that's the politician coming out.
And so now they've got all these campaigns up to silence the whisper. So he's trained an army. He's getting them all frothed up and pissed off, ready to go fight these whisperers. Which is, smart move. He's using a little mind control, but, he's going to accomplish his goal if everything goes well. But it's The Walking Dead, and that last part of that sentence usually never happens. If everything goes well, is a non sequitur in The Walking Dead universe. So what happens in this one? Rick has to end up killing one of his defectors and trying to kill him, and he makes a public example out of him and fucking kills a motherfucker. Well, that dude's kid is pissed off, and he's a little 12-year-old asshole. He's the same guy that tried to rape Sophia that Carl hit in the head with a shovel.
He does the worst thing you could ever do.
He lets Negan out! So
now you've got a loose Negan, and you've got the fact that Negan knows that Rick is telling everybody half-truths to get them to do what they want. What's going to happen when he shows back up?
Yeah, that's it. Negan's out. Oh, God.
I feel like, I always felt like eventually Rick's going to die in this book.
It could be coming soon.
And Carl's going to be the guy, and I feel like this could possibly be one of the things that makes it happen. I've always felt like eventually Carl's going to be the one that leads everybody. Like he's learning from Rick's mistakes to get to be the better Rick at one point.
It seems like it's going in that direction.
This could be a big step in it going that way.
For damn sure. So Jay, well, take us on, my friend.
Let's see what we got. I got a few here to list. Of course, Batman was on my list of good books this week. What else do we have here? As always, I'm going to mention The Astonishing Ant-Man as honorable mention. It was not pick of the week. Sometimes it makes it to my pick of the week, but it didn't quite make it there. But it was a pretty interesting issue. Ant-Man's got, I wrote it down here. It's Nick Spencer's the writer.
Right.
But yeah, this issue kind of takes a break a little bit and looks at Cassie, the daughter. And I guess the last issue, she's working through some daddy issues. Well, now she's decided that she wants to have powers again, and so she goes to meet with the power broker to try to get powers. And a lot of it...
You would go to a power broker.
Go to a power broker.
To get powers.
So yeah, she does end up getting
Power
powers.
broker?
Yeah.
I'm able to fly. Yeah.
Well, it's really funny because she goes to him trying to pull the old double, get powers but not do her part of the bargain or whatever, and he calls her out on it, and she's like, well, still give me the powers and I'll do this one thing. So she gets her powers. She is now the Stinger at the end of the book. So we'll see how
Stinger?
I'm wondering if she is not going to I'm wondering if she'll fight her dad at some point. So we got that honorable mention here. Let me look through my stack. Let's see, talk about Batman. Talk about some X-Men here. Extraordinary X-Men number 8. Mention it. It was a really good book. I've actually been enjoying it. It's the Lemire book. And in this one, the whole thing now is there's the Terrigen Mist and mutants are dying and this kind of thing. And so, Storm and the X-Men have been trying to save as many people as they can. Well, what happens is they detect 600 new mutant life signatures. And it's like, fuck, you can't do that. So they go to investigate, and it turns out that the Sugar Man shows up. I haven't seen him in forever. The Sugar Man shows up.
Oh, Sugar Man is the most fucked up looking motherfucker ever.
So he shows up in this book. He has made these mutant embryos, and his plan is he's going to take them somewhere and then let them grow and be their master or whatever. Well, of course, the X-Men show up and ruin his plan. Well, they end up getting sent to the future, and the X-Men follow. And when they get there, I'm not going to spoil it, but they encounter some horsemen as part of this whole Apocalypse Wars thing. And I think it's going to be pretty good because the Horsemen are not the Horsemen that you would expect. So it's been, I've enjoyed it. A little unexpected twist there at the end. It's been really good. And then I'll probably go ahead and go to, I did read Darth Vader number 18. It continues on with what you talked about.
That must have come out today.
It did literally come out.
Yeah,
I heard it. It was my only book. That's why I had to buy it.
Right.
Probably I'm going to have to go with my pick of the week being the new Star Wars 17. As everybody probably knows, it's got Jason Aaron writing it. The guy doing the pencils, I don't think I'm familiar with his work. It's like Lineal Francis Yu.
Lineal Yu, yeah.
He's done some cool.
I'm not super familiar with him, but it looked really good. So I was pretty pleased. I thought they caught it really pretty well. But it's been an excellent issue. As you mentioned, Dr. Afra. Thank you.
Like Afro with a name.
It is so hard for me to say her name. She's in that prison. And there are bounty hunters that are trying to come get her. Well, part of the book is Leia's on that prison too. And
she's in there with the almost wife of Han Solo.
Right, yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
Well, and then one of the I'm assuming it's a bounty hunter, takes control of the prison and tries to set him up to where he's trying to make Leia kill all these prisoners. Like, he's like, I'm not going to kill him, you're going to kill him. So he's playing mind games with them. The second half of the book, Luke and Han are actually going to go on a smuggling run because I don't remember this happening. Apparently, Han lost a bunch of the Republic's money, or the Rebels' money, gambling. I don't remember that. But, so they're they're going to go on a smuggling run. Well, the smuggling run that Luke finds for them is smuggling Nerfs, which is hilarious in and of itself. So they load all these Nerfs on the Millennium Falcon, and of course the Empire's going to show up and give them some grief. I'll leave it at that there. But the dialogue between Luke and Han about these Nerfs and what happens on the Millennium Falcon is fucking hilarious. And it's one of the... Normally you don't get like humor from the Star Wars book usually, but there's a humorous side to it, and I don't know. It made it my pick of the week. So of course, we're always playing up Star Wars. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. It's definitely worth it, and if you've read a couple, you need to pick up 17 because you'll still get it and you'll think it's a really good book. And so that was my pick of the week.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got good books coming up, and next week, I think I got like 4 books next week, so it's not super big, but the week after that is Polmageddon number 11, or however many of these I've had.
I'm so excited to get Disney's Haunted Mansion because Josh Williamson, and I was supposed to get this week. The fucking comic book store got shorted, so now I gotta wait.
Did you get the first one?
No.
Still haven't got the first one?
No.
A few weeks ago.
It came out like 3 weeks ago, and I got shorted.
Oh, they're supposed to have it for you this week then?
Supposedly, yeah. We'll see.
I think number 2's coming out like next week or the
I
week
know.
after, yeah.
It pissed me off. I have to go to the other fucking comic book
I
store,
have to
buddy.
shop around.
Yeah.
I was going through my wallet and realized that I have a gift certificate to the other comic store that I got for Christmas. I forgot about.
I just fucking found gift certificates.
I almost threw it away, and I was like, "Oh shit! It's like $30." That's like a sweet hardcover that I can go in there and just buy off the rack. And I've had this since Christmas, and I forgot about it. It's like some bullshit.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
It's like $20 in your winter coat when you took it out of the closet.
Exactly. It's like finding 30.
Yeah.
But
Free money?
Bunch of awesome stuff coming up. Though 2 weeks though, Polmageddon, because I don't know if we'll pod before then, but Black Panther number 1's coming out. Poe Dameron number 1's coming out. A bunch of good shit's coming. So go to one of the comic book stores, any of the comic book stores, and get your pulls.